guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am building a house that I actually built in The Sims 3 a very long time ago. Of course I don't have footage of that build, so we're doing it again in The Sims 4. I don't know how to describe the house. It's like the house that I intentionally built in The Sims 3. I had a lot of custom content, and what I did is I made it kind of like this underground, not a bunker, but just this like loft house. So the downstairs was all just open. I think the only thing that was closed off was, of course, the bathroom, but it was like a studio downstairs. And then I used a lot of very industrial style doors and windows and light fixtures. Made it look like it was kind of almost like a prison type of build. And of course in The Sims 4, I don't have any custom content in The Sims 4 right now, actually. So everything is with the game. So it's a little bit harder to do just because I didn't have the same material items that I wanted, but I did pull it off still. I think it looks really awesome. I'm very happy with the build. The downstairs area is like the main living space. So that's where you're going to see, you know, your kitchen and your living room and your bedrooms and things like that. And then the upstairs is just a big outdoor indoor living space. So in the area where the big arches are, that's a living space. So you're going to have a couch in there, a dining table, and then outside you have a full kitchen pretty much. You have a refrigerator, a grill, a bar seating area, and then of course you have the loungers around the pool. This build took, surprisingly, it didn't take too long, but I did do it over several days just so that I wouldn't start just like throwing stuff in there because I was getting frustrated or anything like that. So I took my time on the build. I had the time, you know, the days, so that's what I did. And I end up, like, I'm just going to say it all throughout. I really just love this build. This is always a build that I will go back to if they do like a Sims 5 or anything like that. It's just a fun build. And of course all around the pool is going to be windows into the different rooms. And at first, and the other thing about this floor plan that I really like is that you can play around with it. You don't have to leave it how I have it furnished. You know, you can put the living room on the other side where the kitchen and dining area are. It's easy to play with it. So I hope you have fun with it, and I hope you love this build as much as I do. If you like this video, make sure to like this video and make sure to subscribe to my channel so that you see any new videos that I post. This home is available in the gallery under VERONBO 3. I've already gotten some positive feedback on it from the gallery, so I'm really excited about that. I do want to start doing larger homes. I know I've done a couple of tiny homes so far. So this one I already had a plan with it though. I've envisioned it for years, and especially having already done it in The Sims 3, doing it in The Sims 4 was a little bit easier because I already knew where I was going with it. So we have the upstairs area is kind of like, what do you call those? Shipping containers. And I feel like it's one of those houses that like you pass on the street and you're like, oh, it looks like, you know, like a neighborhood pool or some sort of like cool hangout. And then as soon as you get inside, you're like, oh my gosh, there's a staircase. And then you go downstairs and you're like, holy crap. This house is amazing. And I would personally love to have a house like this. I think that it's really cool. I think that it's really fun. So, and I love too that in The Sims 3, oh my gosh, I'm living in Sims 3 land. In The Sims 4, of course, you have the window roofs. My brain just like, whenever I start recording, my brain just like shuts off. So, and it has been a little busy week for me. I go back to work on Monday, and then also we've been having, it's not funny, but I laugh when I'm uncomfortable sometimes. We've been having a leaking issue in our home, so we've been trying to deal with that. They shut our water off yesterday and removed our water heater, so we have been living without water now for a little over 12 hours, and it's just been, you don't realize how much you use water until you don't have access to it anymore. Luckily we have a pool, so we can dip that, dip buckets in there and use that for like our toilets and stuff. But it's not the same washing your hands with antibacterial as it is actually washing your hands with soap and water. For me personally, I feel like my hands are never fully clean whenever I use hand sanitizer, which I know is not true. I don't know. I don't like the feeling of hand sanitizer on my hands. I don't know what it is. But so, yeah, it's just been a week. It's, you know, trying to deal with that, and it's always something. So you got to be prepared for it all. The upstairs area, again, is just like a really cool hangout area in this house. So it's fun. I put a ladder upstairs to the top of this section, and I put a bar up there and a seating area, and it overlooks the front of the house, the side of the house, the back of the house. It's just a really cool hangout area. And then I don't use terrain tools a lot, and I cut it out because it was driving me insane. It would not function the way that I wanted it to function at all. Trying to get it to the right level of depth down there, because I'm going to make that a seating area and a little fire pit area. So to try and get that to the right level was very frustrating, but it ended up working out. I ended up figuring out how to do it, just playing with it some. So hope you guys like that area, because it took me a really long time to do. Longer than I would like to admit. The thing too that I love about this house is that because the majority of it is downstairs underground, I didn't have to deal with the roofing. If you all have seen my videos recently, you know that I hate roofing. It's just something that I struggle with. It's something that I'm not super great at. So when it comes to the roofing, I don't want to do it. So this house was a blessing in a way, because I didn't have to deal. I only ended up putting one roof on. The other part is just grass. And then at one point up here too, I realized that it's probably not very feasible that, let's say you had guests over or you were just outside swimming, that you would have to go all the way downstairs into the main part of the house to go to the bathroom. So I do put a bathroom outside. I was going to try to find somewhere to put it on the inside building part, but it just didn't make any sense. So I ended up not doing that. I just ended up putting one kind of outside over by like the kitchen area. I also figured too, like, you don't want people dragging water all throughout your home to get to the bathroom whenever you have ample space upstairs to find a place to put one. I did skip over the landscaping on this house. It's just landscaping. You can see it in the photos. It's very simple but very pretty landscaping. So, and then here we are working on the upstairs part of just putting out the loungers and making it comfortable. I do end up putting a huge TV up here, so you know, if you have your friends that are getting a little hot, need to cool down, go to the indoor-outdoor section of it. There's a fan, and they have a massive TV that they can kick back and watch the game on, you know, because sports are happening right now in real life also. Just kidding, COVID-19 is not playing around. And then we have a dining table. I personally think that most people end up spending the majority of their money on the outside of their house, if they do it right, if that makes sense. Like landscaping and a pool and a hot tub and just like all outdoor furniture is super expensive usually. So this house, I feel like, is no exception to that. Like, these people spent a lot of money outside, making it a very livable, very fun space to be. So, and I imagine that this house is a family, especially with how big the downstairs area is. Downstairs, like the main living space, there are technically 4 bedrooms. I turned one into an office space, but that could easily be converted into a bedroom. And there are 2 bathrooms downstairs and a laundry room. The laundry room ended up being smaller than I really wanted it to be, but c'est la vie. I love the rug that's up here in that living area. It is such a cool rug, and then the colors are just kind of perfect. There's not too much orange, but there's enough to bring a pop of color in this pretty no color room. I guess just black and white. So a little pop of color never hurt nobody. And then of course there's a hot tub over there. The only thing that I don't like about this house is that in The Sims 3, like if your sim is in the pool and you go downstairs to the living area, you can still see them swimming. But in The Sims 4, you cannot do that. So like if you go downstairs and your sim is in the pool, you don't see them. So that's kind of annoying because it kind of ruins the aesthetic of it. Like it would be cool to be downstairs with your one sim and then be able to look out the window and see your other sim like having a good time in the pool. But whatever. And then this area is just kind of like, I wanted it to be definitely indoors so that it's realistic. It's not open air. Like you can open the door and go outside, but there's a window there and then the staircase so that it's closed off. So it's mostly kind of like a foyer, like an entry area. There's not a whole lot going on in there, let's be honest. And then the fencing that I used around the backyard is like it's almost like prison fencing. I am disappointed. I guess I could have used custom content, but I didn't want to just because a lot of people don't like custom content. Sometimes custom content can mess up your gameplay. You have to, for some of it, you have to download mods or whatever, and I am not about that. So this house, again, has no custom content in it. But I do like custom content because you can have a little bit more fun with it. You can download more specifically what you're looking for in a build. So like for this house, of course, I would probably have downloaded fencing that had a barbed wire on the top just to make it a little bit more realistic to what I'm picturing, and then light fixtures that are more, I don't know how to describe the house. I really don't. Like lofty, but not lofty. I don't know. Whatever. And this is the bar area. I ended up pulling it out and adding, so adding some more bar on the back side of it so that it's a little longer and it like matches up better with the pool. The kitchen area down here is really nice, and I end up deleting some of it because that's where the bathroom is going to be, like right alongside the house out there. So I end up deleting some of those counters, which you don't really need that many counters anyways, I don't think. Like Sims don't use all those counters. They pick one that they cut their food on and then that's it. So, and this house is relatively pretty large. Again, I want to start building larger homes. They're more fun. The only thing is that I'm not the best at editing, and so whenever you have well over 3 hours of footage, it's hard to determine what to cut out and what to keep in a video. And then the program that I use sometimes just like glitches, and that's why in my last video there were just like these random blanks of space where nothing was there. There were no pictures, there was no video, it was just like this black screen that showed nothing. I was like, cool. So like if I hit Control Z on my program, it just like I don't know what it is, it just like moves stuff around, it just like makes random, it's very frustrating. But so I'm learning about that and just trying to get better at editing. I'm not the best, but again, I'm just trying my best. So I hope that you guys appreciate my trying. So now we're downstairs. This is the main living space. I really end up loving it. I take down that wall and I put a half wall just because that's where the kitchen's gonna be, and I felt like the kitchen, you want light, and I usually put kitchens around like the outer side of the home just so that they have more natural light next to the windows. And this one, there was nothing else really to do with that space. Like I didn't want to put a living room over there because it's just not large enough. So I was like, I'll just do a galley kitchen. And I do end up pushing the one wall further back because that's where the laundry room is, and the laundry room didn't really need to be that large. I wanted it to be, but it's not. It is what it is. And so that way they had more space in the kitchen. I just felt like the kitchen was pretty small as it was right here. Again, Sims don't really care, but in, like, if you're looking at this home, it's huge, and then you have this small kitchen. It just didn't make sense, so I did extend it out. Of course, cabinets. I tried not to go overboard with cabinets because it just makes it look so closed off, but I think it ended up being top notch. We're fine. The staircase, of course, is so long because I made the floors taller. The only thing that I wish that the stairs could have been more playable in this house, a little bit more movable, but because of the upstairs area, there wasn't a whole lot I could do with the stairs, and that would work. So they're just one long straight down staircase. This is the dining room. Everything about this house I felt like just like really came together. Like I didn't have, like when I was doing the downstairs, I didn't have like a solid plan. I kind of knew where I wanted things to be, but then it all just came together in placing furniture and stuff. And that's what I love about The Sims 2 is like, if you look at an empty floor plan, you might be like, what is this supposed to be? What room is this supposed to be? I don't really know where to go with this. But then once you start placing furniture, you start to realize where you're wanting to go with it. I did originally have the master bath on the other side of the master room. The only thing was is that I didn't want windows going into the bathroom. Like that was a little too personal. So I did move it, and there are no windows. There are unfortunately a few rooms that don't have any natural light coming into them, but that's okay. It's kind of like being in a basement without any windows, you know, or even basements that have those tiny windows and you're like, I don't understand what the point of those are, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. I do apologize, guys. This is a long video. I tried to make it as short as I could, but it does still end up being quite long. I did have to cut some stuff out of it, but I am proud of how it turned out. And there are several pictures so that you can kind of get more of an overall view of it for the stuff that maybe you didn't get to see me actually placing. I think that for The Sims, the majority of us are just like, we just want to see the end result. I do anyways. Like sometimes the building process is interesting because a lot of people can do really cool things like making their own custom furniture using pieces that are in the game. I'm not the best at that. I look at something and that's what it is. Like if you look at the show Flea Market Flip, those people, it's crazy that they can go in there and they're like, oh, this is a table. I'm going to turn it into something totally different. I look at it and I'm like, that's a table. It's a table. It will never be anything but a table. So it's hard. I feel like I'm usually pretty good about imagination, but that kind of stuff is just, like if it already is something, it's hard for me to picture it as something else. So that's how I am in The Sims 2. Like it's a counter. I can't, that's what it is. And then sometimes when I try to size things up and down, like you can't really size the candles in the game up and down because the flame ends up sitting where it would have if it was just the regular size. Oh guys, I got some learning to do. I know. We'll get there. Also, so since I don't have any water in my actual house right now, I feel like I can't wash my face. So I didn't do my makeup today because I like to wash my face before and after I put on makeup. That didn't really make sense. I wash it before I put on makeup and then I wash it again after I take off the makeup. That makes more sense. And so I can't really do that right now, and it's frustrating. But whatever. I'm also like, do I make this channel only Sims? I won't get into that. That'll be another video. But I am like, do I just want to strictly stick to The Sims on this game, or do I want to branch out a little bit more and on this channel, and branch out a little bit more and do other things that I find interesting or like that are just kind of missing in the world of YouTube? I don't know, but we'll see. Also, so we went to IKEA a couple weeks ago, and I got my new chair, And while we were there, my mom was with me, and she was like, oh, we saw this like cute TV stand that they had. It's called the Besta unit, so if you want to look up what I'm talking about. But it was really cute. It hung up on the, like, you put it up on the wall. It was like a floating TV wall unit. And you guys, if you have never been to IKEA, or if you have, it's such a pain because every little piece is separate. So like for the wall unit that we got, we had no idea that the doors are separate on it. So you buy the unit, the doors, the shelf, that's all separate. And the shelving unit that we got, the doors that we wanted were like 2 full-size doors and then like a half door in the middle. Well, the half door cannot be it can't be double used, if that makes sense. So some of their stuff is like, you can use it on a drawer front, or you can use it as like an actual door. The middle shelf thing door does not work that way. It is one or the other. Or not one or the other. Sorry, my brain is just like, you can't use it as an actual door. You can only use it as drawer front. Well, we didn't know that, so we didn't buy the drawer stuff. We bought the door stuff. So we had to order a drawer, and then you would think that with the drawer would come the gliders for the drawer, like the side things that they actually pull the drawer out on. No, you have to order those separate also. So it's just been, we ended up going to IKEA 3 different times, twice to Kansas, once to Dallas. They're both perfectly the same distance away. However, the one in Kansas is much more bearable. The one in Dallas is so busy. And the one in Kansas is just like, at one point I turned to my dad and I was like, it's so quiet in here. Like, you could hear a pin drop. It was so quiet. And you can just tell that the people there are much more relaxed, like the workers, because they're not as busy. So they have more time to talk with you and to help you. The one in Dallas is just wild, man. It's just too busy. This is just way too busy. So this I made into a kid's room. I figured that they probably either have twin girls or a toddler and like a 10-year-old somewhere in there, just like the child age. I don't know how that would be converted into Sims. So I gave them a cute little room, but that of course can be turned into any room that you want it to be. It's also a very large room, which is why I made it shared. This room is going to be the office. But this, again, can also be converted into a bedroom. There's space to do that, so not a whole lot of space. I can't remember if I open up the wall. I think I leave it how it is now, because I think I already made it a bigger room. But the fun thing about this one is that I used the, like, secret door. So on the opposite side of that door is, like, a bookcase. And it's in the living room, so it kind of looks like it's a bookcase. And then you don't realize that it's actually a door into the office area. And I think the office is one of my favorite rooms in this whole house. I just really love how it all came together. The colors, the kind of like backdrop scenery that I put on there, it all just came together really nicely. So I would definitely say that's one of my favorite rooms. Looking back at the living room, that TV is really high. So I'm trying to imagine if it was a real life situation. Like, I feel like the people would just be sitting there like that, like looking up at a TV instead of looking more like straight on. So you might want to replace the TV. You might leave it how it is. I don't know. I should have done a little bit smaller of a TV though, so that it could be a little bit shorter down, or maybe not put all that stuff on top of the mantle so that the TV could sit lower. But, and all that stuff that's just like floating in the middle of the living room, I'm going to put a coffee table underneath that. I feel like I have a struggle of, I can't just focus on one room at a time, because I find stuff while I'm looking in another room and I'm like, oh, I should put that in there. And then I like jump over there before I lose it. I need to familiarize myself more with the objects in the game, just so that I can know, okay, I've seen that before, let me go find that. But then I have issues of like, I know that I've seen it, but I have no idea where it's at, like where it's housed in the game. So, you know how it is. And I tried to find curtains, I think for the kids' room, to put up. just because realistically, like, you don't want your windows just always open, especially since they're directly in the pool. Like, if someone was up there, like, and you're trying to sleep or you're trying to change or anything like that, like, you want more privacy. So I think I end up doing these slats, or I end up doing those slats. And in my head, like, in real life, you could probably, like, pull them out so you could drag them all the way across the window. There just weren't any blinds or curtains that matched those windows for what I wanted. So that's what I ended up having to do. That's one thing that I don't like about some of the content in the game, is there's not really anything that goes with it. And it's really interesting in the Sims community. Like, you're probably never alone in what you wish that the game was or miss about it. Obviously, the create a tool is something that everybody misses. The fact that nothing can match perfectly in the game is kind of annoying. So you're kind of forced to do mismatched furniture. But again, c'est la vie, whatever. I know that the create a tool probably created a lot of issues with the gameplay just in The Sims 3, just because there was a lot going on and a lot that the game had to remember. And then if you had custom content like I did, it was even more. Because I personally don't like the wood floors in the game, even in this game. Like, I feel like they look too fake. They don't look real. And that's frustrating to me. I always have this, like, idea of what I want things to be, and then I can never find exactly what I'm looking for. So with custom content, you can do that, but whatever. I'm just rambling on. But these are things I think that this team at The Sims, at EA, they know that those things are missed. They know that people want cars. And there was this on Instagram the other day, I noticed there's this meme creator for The Sims, like, specifically, I think it's them, maybe it was someone else, but they had posted that there was a thought bubble coming out of one of the children age Sims, and it was just a picture of a bunk bed. Which, if you know, maybe you don't, but there are not bunk beds in The Sims. And so it was just like, they know that we want them. They know that the players want them, and yet they do that instead of actually just provide us with a bunk bed. Same thing with the cars. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but so for The Sims 3, I would download custom content cars so that they would actually be real cars. You know, like Hondas and Toyotas and Maseratis and BMWs from the Fresh Prince. So these are some of his creations. I just did a quick screen grab from him, and I will link his URL down below. But he does so many cars, you guys, and it is amazing. So if you still play The Sims 3, you can download these just like you would regular custom content, and then add them to your game. It really changes your gameplay. I think it's really cool. I'm so glad I found him. And his cars are amazing. They look so realistic. He does such a good job. I think he has some for The Sims 4, but obviously they're not usable like they were in The Sims 3. So it was just really cool because it felt like, on top of you building a house that looks like it could be a real house in the real world, you had cars that were realistic, and they kind of fit in with your Sims lifestyle. So, like, maybe someone, I won't get into that, but you know what I mean. Like, certain people just, like, you see them in a certain car. I always like to sit out in parking lots, and, like, when people leave stores, I'm like, where are they going to go? Are they going to go here? Like, which car they belong to, or which car belongs to them, you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm weird. It's okay. I used to also sit in the parking lot in high school and turn on the classical channel. If you have not done this, you need to do this. I'm telling you, it is so funny, and you're going to think that it's stupid, but as soon as you do it, if you have time to do it, it's hilarious. Go to a parking lot that's, like, busy, pretty active. So, like, a grocery store parking lot would probably be a good one. Turn on the classical channel and just watch how the music fits in with what people are doing. It's like watching a silent movie, only you're getting to watch it all happen right in front of you. It's just funny. I wish that I had recorded. We went to go look at a car years ago, at least you know, 10 years, no, longer than 10, oh God, I'm so old. Longer than 10 years ago. And my dad and the guy, the salesperson, they were both like out of the car, and my dad got out to go look for him, and the classical channel was on. And it was matching everything that they were doing, just like spot on. So it was like this funny, the guy like pulled up and my dad like got out to go look for him. So you had the music of like going along with like, where is he? Can't find him. And then this guy like pulls up in a golf cart, and it's like that like fun, like racy music that's just like, like, I don't know how to describe it. I wish I'd recorded it because it was so funny. I don't know why, but it was. So if you have the time, I would definitely do it. It's hilarious. Back to the house. That one room, I thought that it would be like a teenager's, most likely a boy, but you know, it could be a teenage girl also. Pretty neutral colors and things like that. Excuse me. It's not COVID, guys, I swear. I've been eating a lot of Funyuns, and the dust gets in my throat. But so yeah, I put a Murphy bed in there. I figured, you know, the kid that was in there would probably like to be like a gamer, and so they wanted more space for activities. So much room for activities. This is the master bathroom. I'm pretty proud of myself for the master bathroom. I usually don't make it big enough to fit that large of a tub in there. I don't know why, but I'm also like not super creative when it comes to the master bathroom. I'm like, it's a square, and that's all it is. But I do, personally, I like in master bathrooms when the toilet is separate, like in its own separate room. And so that's what I end up doing in this one. And it worked out perfectly. It fit really well. And it also did kind of help break up the monotony of just like a square room in the master. So, and I end up using, I don't know if you guys saw the doors that I'm using, but they're like no entry or enter at your own risk, some sort of door like that, which went really well with the aesthetic of the house. So I'm happy with that. And I really do like how the master bathroom turns out. I like how pretty much this whole house turns out. The master bedroom, I think, is a little large for me. There's just a lot of empty space, which I don't like. Whatever. You guys can play with that. You can add more stuff in that room if you want, because I didn't really know what to do with it. Also, I could have added on probably like a master closet back there, like a nice walk-in, but I didn't. And then I just really love how the master bathroom turned out. I was gonna put these boxy cabinets above in the master bath because there's just so much empty space above the sinks, but I didn't end up doing that. That little room over there next to the outdoor refrigerator, that's the bathroom. It's just a toilet and a sink. That's it. A little window and a door. I put a little cute tree up above it, or plant, whatever you want to call it, just to help it match the rest of the build, but simple. But anyways, back to the master bathroom. So I end up just doing, again, an open shelf. I don't remember what I put on it, but I ended up doing an open shelf. The cabinets just looked, it was just too much, so. And then upstairs, I just thought that there was too much planking up there, so I opened it up a little bit more to be a little bit more grassy. Just some finishing touches. I think at this point, the house is mostly done. I think I go back in the laundry room too, and I add some open shelving? Yeah, that's a word. Under the cabinets, just to make it also a little bit more realistic. Clutter it up a little bit. I did cut out the cluttering though. Just, I feel like, I do have pictures of it so you can kind of see what I did. But the cluttering just takes a long time, and so it's a lot of the video process and getting it to move up and resizing and just rearranging it. So I didn't end up putting that in there, but that's okay. I spent a lot of time on this house, but I really like how it turned out. I'm just like, oh, okay. I don't know why I skipped it there, but I did. Please excuse my editing process. I have a different editing process than probably anybody else in the YouTube community. And I end up switching that to like darker, because that room is so light that having some darker elements in it, I think, made it pop a little bit more. I do end up, I think that it ends up being a very dark master bedroom for what I like, but again, this isn't my home, so I think it's okay. And I did put a little hamster in here. I was like, the girls probably have a little hamster that they, you know, take care of, and there's the shelf, because I end up coming back to it. I think I just like forgot that I was trying to do something in here because I got distracted by everything else. But I think we're about to enter screenshots though, so thank you guys again so much if you made it to this point in the video. Let's comment The Sims 4 needs a creative tool down in the comments. But again, I hope you guys liked it, and thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.